I'm about to set out on the next leg of my winter wanderings. I left my job with the Appalachian Mountain Club in the White Mountains of New Hampshire on 11/11 and took a few days heading south. I visited my parents in North Carolina for Thanksgiving and got my camper inspected. I then headed further south, ending up at a hobby farm outside of Eustis, Florida. A week later, I found out my dad was coming down this way to visit Key West, so I caught a ride with him there and back. I will be leaving the Eustis area on December 21st and heading west to Arizona. I left Eustis, Florida around 8 a.m., heading toward Ocala on US 27. Ocala looks like any other Florida city, surrounded by acres of sprawl. Only a tiny historic section is left untouched by multi-lane boulevards, giant billboards, and traffic lights. Christmas music was blaring through loudspeakers downtown. I hope to run into Rainbow family members heading to the National Forest for their 2016 gathering, but didn't find any downtown. Outside of Ocala, the sprawl disappears, and US 27 travels peacefully through beautiful horse ranches and gently rolling sand hills. The small town of Williston is dominated by equine vets, feed stores, and other horse-related businesses. I stopped to cook lunch beside the highway, turning my hood into a level table by parking with my back wheels in the shallow roadside ditch. The weather was beautiful, sunny and 80 degrees, but the breeze hampered my unshielded camp stove. The Williston Water Tower was visible several miles away down the Arrow Strait Highway. In Chiefland, I stopped to visit the library and access the internet. Rain in the forecast, very warm and humid nights ahead. When the overnight dew point is 65 degrees or higher, I have a hard time sleeping, especially now that I don't have a ventilation fan. There was not much of a town center at all, just residential blocks and a commercial strip along the multi-lane highway. 9 miles up the road, I stopped at the southernmost road crossing of the Suwannee River, of Stephen Foster fame. The Gulf is still 25 miles away. The river is a wide, deep, black water channel, with white sandbanks alternating with limestone chunks. Under the bridge is a long abandoned bum's cot, and the regular spray-painted love declarations. A park is established where Fort Fanning stood during the Seminole War. A little up the road, Fanning Springs State Park charges $2 for pedestrian access. As closing time is only a half-hour away, I pass on the opportunity. A map of the area shows the Florida Greenway Rail Trail crossing of the Suwannee River a few miles up. A sign says closed at sundown. I ignore it and walk out down the path as the moon shines through thin clouds. The temperature is a balmy 72 degrees, and the river returns a rippled lunar reflection. On a private waterfront patio a few yards away, a retired couple lean on the railing and watch the quiet black water silently. Then a huge mosquito lands on my arm and my reverie is broken. I park for the night along the sandy access road paralleling US 27 and the rail trail, and pitch my tent. The night is very muggy, with the occasional whiff of wind. I walk out down the rail trail, crossing paths with 2 kids bicycling by the light of the moon. After a night of drizzle and far too much humidity, I set out on a detour down to the Nature Coast. This part of the Florida Gulf Coast is unique to Florida in that the marshy coast is almost completely undeveloped. Routes 27 and 358 lead through endless miles of pine forests, sandy back roads stretching in every direction. I cross the Steinhatchee River into the sleepy town of Steinhatchee, parking under the bridge so I can open my windows without getting wet. Steinhatchee is a very sleepy fishing town, with next to no resort development. On the west end of town, I can see across a mile of marshes at the mouth of the river into the Gulf of Mexico. The rain sets in again and the temperature drops by 10 degrees. On down the beach road, which looks like any other deserted back road through the Florida pines, I turn onto a small developed peninsula called Keaton Beach. Waves are nearly non-existent, and grass grows a few feet from the beach. I stop to eat lunch and talk to a guy from Northeast Arkansas visiting his brother in Gainesville. His son wanted to see the beach, so they chose to travel to this isolated beach community. Yes, they were wearing overalls and had an extremely pronounced accent. Right now, I'm taking refuge from the dreary weather in the Perry Library. They had a 5 for $1 book sale. Now I'll have some novels to read for the next couple of days. Any other Florida visitors or temp residents stuck in the rain,